In this video, I'll be painting with watercolor on acrylic primed canvas. Of course, watercolor being water-based paint is not going to stick to acrylic gesso, it's going to just puddle. So first thing we need to do is prime our canvas with a layer of watercolor ground. I'm using transparent ground made by Daniel Smith, but other companies make this as well, and you can very easily find other similar products online. I made this video as an additional demonstration for my class, painting on non-paper surfaces. It's available on my website, tamirab.com. I will leave you all the links in the description to this video, and you can also find it on Skillshare and Udemy. Daniel Smith tells us to let ground dry for at least 12 hours or better overnight, so I'm going to leave my canvas to properly dry. Okay, my surface is ready. I am going to sketch the strawberries and try painting them with watercolor. As with many sunlit scenes, if you watch videos on my channel, you will know that I prefer to start my painting with a yellow wash. I'm using a couple of yellows, lemon yellow and new Gamboge. It just gives more warmth to the greens in the scene, the illusion of sunlight, and it's also easy to create green by adding blue. Maybe on the bottom I will use a little permanent orange just for variety. So giving my canvas a light wash of color. And here is my cobalt blue that creates nice subdued green in combination with my yellows. Watercolor ground on canvas obviously does not allow paint to absorb into the surface, so it behaves quite differently from paper. It sits on the surface, but in my opinion, it's actually easier to control. It doesn't run and it doesn't dry very fast, but it does become a lot more textured because I can see the bristles of my brush that I applied a ground with. I can see it under my paint. Okay, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take a stiff brush and clean up the edges of my strawberries. I painted the background around them because I was worried when I started dropping blue that resulting green is a complementary of red, so I was afraid red is not going to be as luminous and as clean and as I would like it to be. And also I want to make the background darker than the branches of the strawberries. Are they called branches or stems? If you know, let me know in comments. I'm not sure. This painting was a lot of fun. It was an experiment for me. I never painted on a regular canvas with watercolors, but I had a whole bunch of them. I bought them really inexpensively on clearance in art supply store, so I thought this is a nice sturdy surface. I don't paint with oils or acrylics that much these days, but I do paint a lot of watercolor, and I just wonder how watercolor is going to look on this surface. And follow the video to the end to see the final result. The look is definitely different than watercolor on paper, and please let me know in comments if you think this was a successful experiment or if you prefer traditional watercolor on paper. Okay, a clean yellow wash under the strawberries, and I'm going to go through my reds on my palette and add them, reducing the temperature towards the edges of the strawberries. So the highlight, the most prominent part, is yellow mixed with some Scarlet Lake. Then I'm going to Senilia red, which is basically primary red, and then on the outside of the strawberry I'm using Winsor red, which is very slightly cooler red. That way I create coarse shadow on the strawberry and give it volume. That Winsor red wasn't cool enough, so let's use Anthraquinoid red. That will be much cooler. And I will probably drop in some blue as well, or maybe green for cast shadows. If you want to know more about choosing and using reds on your palette, I have a fun class on that subject. It's called Radiant Red with Watercolor. You can find it on my website or on Skillshare if you have membership. Like I said, this class talks about choosing reds for your palette, but it will apply to any color on the color wheel. work on the leaves, I'm going to use sap green deep as my basis and cool it with the same cobalt blue that I was using for my background. Using the same color everywhere gives unity to your painting. Limiting your palette is always a good idea. So I will continue building my painting for a while, working on the leaves and all the rest of the details. See, I am leaving stems lighter in some spots, and there will also be a white flower that I need to paint around. So I am going to paint the background around those areas. That's what's called negative painting. It's a very effective and popular approach in watercolor. It gives pretty stunning results when you have a lighter objects on darker background, but it takes a little bit of time and effort to do because you have to carefully paint around certain areas. To let it dry, and then I will see what else I need to do with this painting. After taking a break for a while from my painting, I analyzed it and I see that everything is very close in tone. So what I need is darks. Let's add the darks, and some of those darks will be on the foreground and some of the darks will be in the background, so I will continue painting them negatively. And my dark mixture is going to be Antwerp blue with sap green. I need a cooler green to push it backwards. Painting is starting to look a lot better as I add contrast to it. A little different approach with painting on canvas. Paint doesn't run very much and doesn't distribute itself, let's say, as it would with paper. So you have to push it with the brush to make it go where you need it to go, to soften the edges, like I'm doing here on the background. Alright, even though I tried painting negatively, I lost some of my lighter elements. Very easy to bring them back. I'm going to use some white gouache, and in some places where I don't need pure white, I am going to mix it with my watercolor to give it a very light green tone. So let's add a few details with a small brush. Also, I need to paint highlights on the strawberries to make them look like strawberries. You know, they have that matte shine on them. And also the seeds are prominent, so they will have tiny little highlights on each one. So let's add that, and also some seeds in the shadow that immediately made my strawberries look a lot more realistic. Splattering. I like this kind of illusion of dappled sunlight, and here is my finished painting. You see it looks quite different than if I painted it on watercolor paper. It has a lot more texture. I hope you give this technique a try. Let me know in comments what you think about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Help other artists to see this video by liking or sharing it. To see future videos, subscribe and click the bell button to be notified when they're published. Thanks again and stay creative!